Jonathan, I think you have a tale to tell.
Nope.
All right, well, then we could just talk about my feelings.
No. I do have a tale. All right, let's jump into it. This one comes from Reddit, username Alvin Lee PhD. And the title of this one is Tenant Wants to Make a Lot of Alterations to the House. Juicy title.
Juicy title.
All right, this comes to us from Nevada. This landlord says, I've got a couple with kids moving into one of my single-family rentals. I have a lot of clauses in my lease that restrict major alterations, although I'm okay with drilling holes for hanging TVs and pictures as long as they patch them up and repair them. However, before even signing the lease, they have a laundry list of items they want to do. For instance, change some of the blinds to blackout curtains, adding child locks to the doors, adding security cameras and drilling them into the exterior of the house. They say they don't allow incense or candles, and that these applicants asked if they could use these if they're responsible. What are your first thoughts?
I guess better to ask permission than forgiveness after burning down someone's property. Okay, some of these requests sound a little bit more feasible and reasonable than others.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that they specify that they have a clause in their lease
Yeah.
about this. I think that's important. But having this kind of list before someone even moves in,
Yeah.
it does give me pause.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And this landlord goes on to say, you know, some of these are reasonable requests, just like you said, but I'm feeling iffy that they're already teetering on violating some of my lease clauses to start. And they also apparently insisted on having a professional or the landlord's handyman install everything. It just seems a little silly. You know, in most cases, you as the landlord, you as the property owner, you can make whatever rules you want so long as your tenants are aware of them and agree to them. But most people would say you can do what you want in the rental as long as you return it to its original condition upon move out. So that is why we always say take great pictures, use condition reports like those you can use within TurboTenant. But make sure you know what the original condition was and make sure your tenant also knows. And if it's not returned to the original condition, make sure your lease outlines what happens next, right? Does it come out of the security deposit? If it requires more than the security deposit will cover, what happens then, right? Are they on the hook for covering the rest of it? How are you going to make that? Are you going to tally up that amount? Are you going to work with a handyman, et cetera, et cetera? Make sure it's all documented. And the thing is, it sounds like this landlord has documented everything. So what should they do?
Yeah, you know, again, you said this occurs before they sign lease, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, again, I would say the tenants get some brownie points in my book for asking at least
Sure.
and being willing to have the conversation versus just going ahead and doing it. However, the one request that sticks out to me the most in terms of potential damage is the security cameras being drilled into the exterior of the house.
Yeah.
That just doesn't seem like a great strategy. And I really appreciate that this landlord has so many different clauses to outline different contingencies. I would say if someone's coming in and they want to make this number of changes and they're kind of pushing you on it, they just might not be a good fit. They might be looking for something else.
I mean, it sounds like they're looking to own a house that they could make their own alterations to. But like adding child locks to the doors, you know, I've got child locks on some of my doors and they're not permanent by any stretch.
Yeah, and they don't damage the doors.
They don't damage the doors.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of these things are changing some of the blinds to blackout curtains. I mean, you don't need to change the blinds. You could just lift the blinds, put in your blackout curtains, patch holes when you move out. Like there are ways they could work with it, but it does seem like a red flag that they haven't even moved in and they're already coming with this big list. I'd say same with security cameras. There are solar powered security cameras. So if they really wanted that, they don't need to tap into a new electrical line or anything. They could just put up a solar panel. I mean, this is in Nevada. We don't know where, but Nevada doesn't get like hurricanes or crazy weather.
And they get sun, and that's important for solar panels.
They get sun. So I mean, there are ways they could do this without drastically altering permanent structures. But they don't seem interested in that. They seem like, we want these things. You're going to make these things happen. And where my mind goes is this is before they move in. What happens after they move in?
Right. Exactly. So I would say, you know, if you are in a market where there are plenty of applicants, Keep your options open. See if there is anyone else who really aligns with your screening criteria. Again, your responsibility as a landlord is to take the first applicant who meets all of your screening criteria, but you also have to factor in any friction that's coming up when they see the actual contract. So
Absolutely.
you've got choices.
Yeah. I mean, one of your main screening criteria could be have no issues with my lease clauses, because it sounds like this person's put a bunch of clauses in place that are well thought out. So if someone's already balking at the clauses as they're put, then move on to the next applicant.
Yeah, I like it.
Boom.
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 That's it.
There it is, and you can have it.
You can have it. You can sign it right near the clause. It's yours.